the 9 most powerful gods in anime and manga. Welcome to our countdown of the most ridiculously overpowered gods in anime. We are not talking about your garden variety deities who can blow up a mountain or two. No, we are talking about beings that make universe destroyers look like playground bullies. Let us begin our journey through the divine hierarchy of anime. Number 9. Zeus from Record of Ragnarok. Starting our list at number 9 is the worst vibes grandpa himself, Zeus from Record of Ragnarok. Imagine the most jacked senior citizen you have ever seen. Now give him the power to punch so hard it literally breaks time itself. That is Zeus. Record of Ragnarok presents a deliciously simple premise. The gods have decided humanity is a failed experiment and vote to wipe us out. Our only chance is a tournament pitting history's greatest humans against divine beings in one-on-one combat. And towering above these celestial heavyweights is Zeus, the self-proclaimed godfather of cosmos who makes other gods tremble. Do not let that wrinkled old man appearance fool you. When Zeus steps into the arena against Adam, yes, that Adam, the biblical first man, we witness power that defies comprehension. He unleashes the fist that surpassed time, a technique so fast that his punches occur in 1/10 of a quadrillionth seconds. That is not hyperbole. The manga actually calculates this number. To put that in perspective, light itself looks like it is taking a leisurely stroll compared to Zeus's fists. But wait, I hear you saying super speed is not exactly rare in anime. True enough, but Zeus casually drops that he witnessed the Big Bang and personally defeated Kronos, the literal embodiment of time in Greek mythology. Throughout his battle, we see him regenerate from devastating injuries, manipulate divine energy, and laugh off attacks that would obliterate lesser gods. What keeps Zeus at number 9, despite his universe-class power, is that he still operates within certain cosmic limitations. He is tremendously strong, absurdly durable, and unfathomably fast, but he is still playing by some rules of physics. He cannot rewrite reality or create dimensions from nothing. He is essentially the final boss of conventional power, the ceiling of what raw physical might can achieve before we enter the realm of conceptual beings. As one character nervously mutters when Zeus goes all out, is this really the power of a god? No, this is the power of the god of gods. Number 8. Yhwach from Bleach. Now we move from raw physical power to something far more conceptual. At number 8, we have a being so terrifying that even saying his name feels dangerous, Yhwach from Bleach. The Almighty, the father of the Quincy, son of the Soul King, this guy collects ominous titles like kids collect Pokémon cards. For those who have not fallen down the Bleach rabbit hole, the series begins as a story about soul reapers who guide departed souls and battle corrupted spirits. Fairly straightforward supernatural stuff. But when Yhwach enters the picture, the cosmology expands to mind-bending proportions. What makes Yhwach something beyond just another powerful antagonist is his fundamental ability, the Almighty. Imagine if you could see every possible future simultaneously, like Doctor Strange in Infinity War, but multiplied by infinity. Now imagine you could not just see these futures but select whichever one you prefer, making it the only reality. Playing chess against Yhwach would be like playing against someone who has already seen every possible game configuration before you even touch your first piece. All powers that I know become mine. With this chilling declaration, Yhwach reveals the true horror of his abilities. Through a system called Shrift, he grants unique powers to his followers, abilities that ultimately return to him upon their deaths. By the final arc, he has absorbed so many abilities that he can instantly hit targets by literally erasing the space between them, turn imagination into physical reality, manipulate souls, life, death, and fate, restructure matter at its fundamental level, and neutralize any power once he understands it. After absorbing the Soul King, the linchpin of reality in Bleach, Yhwach's very existence becomes necessary to prevent the collapse of 3 entire realms of existence. He does not just possess immense power, he becomes a fundamental part of reality itself. What elevates him above Zeus is his transition from being merely powerful within reality to actively defining it. When he proclaims, "I can see everything that is to occur from this point forward, and all the powers of every possible future are mine to wield," he is not exaggerating. The only way to defeat him involves a complex paradox that feels more like plot necessity than any actual limitation of his power. In a universe filled with soul-devouring monsters and death gods, Yhwach stands alone as something more primordial, less a character and more a force of nature wearing human form. Number 7. Jin Mori from God of High School. From a god who can see all futures, we now turn to a deity who mastered the art of physical combat on a cosmic scale. Coming in at number 7 is Jin Mori from God of High School, and I can already hear some of you typing angry comments. How can a martial artist rank above gods who can destroy universes? Well, put down your pitchforks for a second, because Jin Mori is not just any martial artist. God of High School pulls one of the greatest bait and switches in anime history. It starts as what seems like a straightforward tournament show, superpowered teenagers competing in martial arts for a mysterious prize. Jin Mori enters as a talented taekwondo practitioner with a carefree attitude and a penchant for breaking the rules. Standard shonen protagonist material, right? Wrong, dead wrong. As the series progresses, we discover that Jin Mori is actually the reincarnation of Sun Wukong, the Monkey King from Journey to the West. But this is not just a cool heritage reveal like finding out your dad was a famous boxer or something. Jin Mori is literally Sun Wukong himself, a being who has existed for 5.68 billion years. But wait, I hear you protesting. Sun Wukong is not a god in the original Chinese legend. True enough, but God of High School takes the already overpowered Monkey King and elevates him to divine status, revealing that he eventually achieved the title of Supreme God after defeating the previous deity who held that position. Let that sink in. He did not just fight gods, he beat the Supreme God so thoroughly that he took the position. He did not just ascend to godhood, he conquered it. This transformation grants him control over the fundamental element of creation, essentially the heart of the universe itself. He can manipulate physical laws, generate and destroy matter, control weather patterns across galaxies, and summon entities called the Seventh Master, gods of individual worlds who can duplicate themselves infinitely at his command. In the final battle, Jin Mori generates enough power to destroy the universe multiple times over, power so overwhelming it literally terrifies Satan himself. When your punches are strong enough to make the devil wet himself, you have transcended conventional power scaling. The only reason Jin Mori is not higher on our list is because his abilities, while universal in scope, do not quite reach the multiversal or conceptual manipulation displayed by our top contenders. Still, there are not many characters in anime who can claim to have punched literal gods into submission while borrowing power from a magical extending staff. As Jin Mori himself casually states after defeating a deity, "That was fun, but I have fought gods way stronger than you." Number 6. Shinra Man from Fire Force. Moving up our divine ladder, we encounter a god born from human evolution. At number 6, we have Shinra in his final form as Shinra Man from Fire Force. Fire Force starts as a show about specialized firefighters battling spontaneous human combustion. You have got people with flame powers fighting fire monsters, cool premise, gorgeous animation, nothing too cosmically mind-blowing. Shinra begins as a rookie firefighter with the ability to ignite his feet, earning him the nickname Devil's Footprints. Neat power, but nothing suggesting god-tier status. Fast forward to the final arc, and suddenly we are dealing with cosmic horror, multiversal threats, and literal deification. After fusing with his brother Sho and incorporating the soul of his mother, Shinra evolves into Shinra Man, a being who is, for all intents and purposes, God with a capital G. This transformation grants him control over time itself, allowing him to move backward and forward through history at will. And I do not mean some limited time travel. I mean he can literally rewrite the entire cosmic history of the universe from the Big Bang forward. In one casual demonstration, he transforms a burning hellscape planet into a beautiful blue world with breathable atmosphere, just by thinking it should be that way. What separates Shinra from the lower entries on this list is his ability to manipulate fundamental concepts. He does not just change physical reality, he alters the underlying rules that govern existence itself. In one stunning display, he literally changes how the concept of death functions, making human bodies more resilient and harder to kill. He brings back the dead, creates matter from nothing, and establishes new laws of physics because the old ones were not to his liking. Perhaps the most mind-blowing demonstration of Shinra's power comes when we learn he creates Lord Death, the god of the Soul Eater universe. Yes, that is right, Fire Force and Soul Eater share a universe, and Shinra is so powerful that he creates another series deity. This effectively makes him a god of gods. What makes Shinra particularly endearing is how he approaches his godhood with childlike wonder. When the previous god, the evangelist, attacks him with beams of destructive light, he playfully kicks the light to the ground and uses it to build an entire city. He creates whales swimming through the sky simply because he once saw a whale skeleton in a museum and wondered what they would look like alive. His godhood is colored by his human experiences and imagination. I am not going to create the world the evangelist wanted, he declares. I am going to create the world I want to see. Number 5. Zeno from Dragon Ball. From a human who became a god, we now turn to a god who behaves like a child. At number 5, we have the button-loving, childlike destroyer of universes, Zeno from Dragon Ball Super. And does he redefine what power means in a franchise already infamous for its absurd power scaling? Dragon Ball has always been about escalating threats. From Goku's early days fighting martial artists who could destroy mountains, to battling aliens who could blow up planets, to gods who could erase galaxies. The series constantly pushes the boundaries of what powerful means. And then Zeno appears and makes everyone else look like ants. When Zeno first shows up, even the gods of destruction like Beerus, beings who can casually obliterate solar systems while half asleep, immediately drop to their knees in terror. Despite appearing as a small, childlike figure with a cheerful demeanor, Zeno holds the title King of All for good reason. He oversees all 12 universes in the Dragon Ball cosmos and holds absolute authority over every god, angel, and mortal within them. What makes Zeno uniquely terrifying is how he wields this power. While characters like Goku and Vegeta train relentlessly to fire increasingly impressive energy beams, Zeno simply erases things. With a casual gesture, like a child wiping away a drawing they do not like, entire universes cease to exist. During the Future Trunks saga, we witness him erase an entire timeline, including the immortal merged Zamasu who had literally become one with the universe itself. This is not just destruction, it is complete elimination from existence. Nothing is left behind, not even empty space. And what is most unsettling is Zeno's childlike approach to using this power. He erases universes while saying bye-bye with a smile, treating cosmic annihilation like a fun game. Is this what true power looks like? Stammers Supreme Kai when witnessing Zeno's abilities for the first time. The answer is unequivocally yes. In a series defined by spectacular displays of energy and fighting prowess, Zeno represents something else entirely, power so fundamental it does not need flashy techniques or dramatic build-ups. Despite these god-tier abilities, Zeno ranks at number 5 because his demonstrated control, while absolute, is limited to 12 universes. The characters ahead of him transcend even this impressive limitation, reaching into infinite multiverses or beyond dimensional existence entirely. Still, in the context of Dragon Ball's already over-the-top power scaling, Zeno represents a quantum leap beyond even the mightiest warriors and gods. As Wise, trainer of gods, ominously warns, there is no being in existence that Zeno-sama cannot destroy. Number 4. Arceus from Pokémon. We now enter the realm of beings who transcend conventional reality. Taking the 4th spot on our list is Arceus from Pokémon. Yes, you read that correctly. A legendary creature from a children's monster catching game outranks the supreme deity of Dragon Ball. And if that makes you do a double take, well, it should. The contrast could not be more striking. While Zeno is feared throughout the Dragon Ball cosmos, Arceus can technically be captured by a 10-year-old with a fancy Pokeball. It is like finding out the quiet librarian who stamps your books is secretly capable of unraveling the fabric of reality. But do not let the gameplay mechanics fool you. In the lore of Pokémon, and especially the movie Arceus and the Jewel of Life, Arceus is not just another powerful creature. It is the original one, the creator deity of the entire Pokémon multiverse. When you first encounter Arceus, you might notice the wheel-like structure surrounding its body. These are not mere decorations. They are plates that contain the essence of every Pokémon type, representing the origin of all power in the universe. The true scope of Arceus's power becomes clear when you consider what it created. First, it formed the creation trio: Dialga, who controls all of time, Palkia, who governs all of space, and Giratina, who rules antimatter and the distortion world where physics operate by completely different rules. Then it created the Lake Guardians, Uxie, Mesprit, and Azulf, who collectively embody knowledge, emotion, and willpower, the fundamental aspects of consciousness itself. Think about that for a second. Arceus did not just create physical matter, it created the concepts of time and space themselves. It did not just make thinking beings, it created the very capacity for thought, emotion, and determination. That is not just creating within reality, that is creating the fundamental building blocks of reality itself. What elevates Arceus above Zeno is that it does not just control or destroy universes. In many ways, it is the universe. The Pokémon lore describes Arceus as the original spirit or the heart, a state of existence where the distinction between all parts of reality does not exist. It transcends everything, existing in a realm beyond time and space. This makes Arceus fundamentally different from most deities in fiction. It stands above all physical, spatial, and temporal differentiation. In simpler terms, Arceus is not just the creator of everything. It is everything and nothing simultaneously. Every Pokémon ability, from simple fire breathing to reality warping moves like Trick Room, which inverts the laws of physics, ultimately traces back to some aspect of Arceus's power. As the ancient texts in the Sinnoh region cryptically state, in the beginning there was only Arceus. From itself, it created time, space, and antimatter, and our universe came to be. Arceus represents our first true outerversal entity, a being that exists beyond conventional dimensional frameworks. There is literally nowhere in the Pokémon cosmos that Arceus cannot be and nothing it cannot do, because all places and abilities are simply aspects of itself. Number 3. The anti-spiral from Gurren Lagann. From a god who embodies creation, we turn to an entity that embodies cosmic balance. At number 3, we have the anti-spiral from Gurren Lagann. And if you have never seen this series, are you in for a wild ride trying to understand this entity? Gurren Lagann starts as a story about a boy named Simon living underground, digging tunnels with a small hand drill. By the finale, we are watching universe-sized mechs hurling galaxies at each other like ninja stars. This escalation is not just for spectacle, though it is spectacular. It is central to the show's theme about limitless evolution and growth. Enter the anti-spiral. Antagonist is not quite the right word. Cosmic counterforce might be more accurate. What makes the anti-spiral uniquely terrifying is that it is not a single entity, but the collective consciousness of an entire civilization that abandoned their physical forms to become a non-corporeal abstract being. Their motivation is not evil in the conventional sense. They are trying to prevent what they call the spiral nemesis, a theoretical catastrophe where unchecked evolution would cause the universe to collapse in on itself. Their powers, the anti-spiral, can create entire multiverses as prison systems, trapping enemies in labyrinthine realities of infinite possibilities, where escape becomes mathematically impossible. In one of the most mind-bending sequences in anime, they trap the protagonist team in such a prison, where each character experiences what feels like an entire lifetime in a perfect reality tailored to their deepest desires. The probability of you escaping is 0, the anti-spiral intones, and they do not mean it is very unlikely. They mean they have literally set the mathematical probability to exactly 0. They rewrite the underlying equations of reality itself. Beyond creation, the anti-spiral demonstrates absolute control over physics, generating isolated universes with their own distinct natural laws. They can manipulate probability itself, literally setting the chance of an opponent's victory to exactly 0%. Perhaps most impressively, they demonstrate omnipresence, the ability to manifest anywhere instantaneously, as if the entirety of existence is simply an extension of their being. What truly elevates the anti-spiral to third place on our list is where and how they exist. Their home planet resides in a spatial void between multiverses, completely unaffected by time and conventional universal laws. It exists outside the normal flow of time and is not bound by quantum cosmology, meaning they have no multiversal counterparts or alternate versions. They are singular in the truest sense. The final confrontation with the anti-spiral can only be resolved through something equally conceptual: spiral energy itself, the power of evolution and infinite potential. It is a battle not just between characters, but between fundamental cosmic principles. As Simon puts it, "My drill is the drill that creates the heavens." While Arceus represents a being that is one with its universe, the anti-spiral demonstrates active, conscious control over infinite multiverses simultaneously. They do not just embody a cosmic principle, they weaponize entire universes against their enemies. This level of demonstrated multiversal manipulation places them firmly above Arceus in our ranking. Number 2. Truth from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. From entities that manipulate multiverses, we now arrive at a being that embodies the very laws of existence. Humankind cannot gain anything without first giving something in return. To obtain, something of equal value must be lost. That is alchemy's first law of equivalent exchange. This iconic opening from Fullmetal Alchemist, Brotherhood, is not just philosophical window dressing. It is the fundamental principle that governs an entire universe. And sitting at the center of this principle, grinning that impossibly wide, featureless smile, truth. Coming in at number 2 on our cosmic countdown, truth might seem like an odd choice at first glance. I mean, we're talking about a featureless white silhouette who mostly just sits there. No planet-crushing punches, no universe-erasing tantrums. Hell, truth does not even have a proper body most of the time. So why does this enigmatic entity rank above gods who can literally snuff out galaxies with a thought? Because truth does not need to destroy galaxies, it is the galaxy, and the space between galaxies, and the concept of destruction itself. Picture this: you are an ambitious young alchemist. You have studied the forbidden arts, drawn your perfect transmutation circle, gathered your ingredients, and you are ready to commit the ultimate taboo, human transmutation. The circle activates, reality splits open like an overripe fruit, and suddenly you are standing in a vast white void. In front of you looms a massive stone gate, intricately carved with alchemical symbols. And sitting casually before it, a blank white figure with nothing but a grinning mouth, a figure that somehow looks exactly like you, but emptier. "Hello," it says in a voice that sounds like yours and everyone else's simultaneously. "I am called by many names. I am the world, I am the universe, I am God, I am truth, I am all, I am one, and I am also you. Welcome to truth, judge, jury, and fundamental bedrock of existence." In the meticulously constructed world of FMAB, where everything operates on scientific principles and equivalent exchange, truth is the cosmic accountant making sure the books balance. When Edward and Alphonse Elric attempt to resurrect their mother, truth does not just punish them. It takes Ed's leg and Al's entire body as toll, not out of cruelty, but because that is the price for glimpsing behind the gate. But here is where things get mind-bending. Behind that gate, everything. All knowledge, all power, all understanding of how the universe works. When alchemists perform transmutations, they are actually opening tiny connections to this realm, borrowing truth's power in carefully controlled ways. Hold up, I hear you saying. Opening connections to truth's power. Does not that just make truth like, I do not know, a cosmic battery that alchemists tap into? Not at all. As the series progresses, we learn something profound. Truth is not just guarding knowledge, truth is knowledge. Truth is not just enforcing equivalent exchange. Truth is equivalent exchange. Every natural law, every alchemical principle, every concept of life and death in the FMAB universe exists because truth embodies it. When Father, the series' main villain, attempts to absorb God to gain unlimited power, what he is really trying to absorb is truth itself. He is literally trying to contain the entirety of existence within his physical form. It is like trying to drink the ocean with a teacup, a fundamental category error. The true brilliance of truth as a cosmic entity comes in the series' climax. Edward Elric, having journeyed through hell and back, finally stands before truth again. But instead of trying to overpower it, which would be like trying to overpower gravity or time, he offers the only thing that could possibly constitute equivalent exchange for his brother's body, his own connection to alchemy itself. Truth smiles. That is the correct answer. With that exchange, Ed achieves what no one else could, not victory over truth, but understanding of it. You do not beat truth, you comprehend it. This philosophical approach to godhood is what elevates truth above entities like Zeno or Arceus. Those gods might control or destroy universes, but truth is the universe, both its contents and its operating system. There is nowhere it does not exist because truth is existence itself. Think about it this way. If Zeno from Dragon Ball erased all 12 universes, he would still exist separately from what he destroyed. But if truth ceased to exist, so would everything else, including the concept of existence itself. That is not just power, that is totality. In a medium often obsessed with power scaling through bigger explosions and flashier techniques, truth stands as a testament to the philosophical heights anime can reach when exploring divinity. It reminds us that true godhood is not about destruction, but about being fundamental to reality in a way that cannot be circumvented, only accepted. Or as truth itself might say, with that eternally unnerving grin, that is the one correct answer. Number 1. Veldanava. From that time I got reincarnated as a slime. We have finally reached the summit of divine power in anime. At the absolute pinnacle of our cosmic power ranking sits Veldanava. From that time, I got reincarnated as a slime, a being so fundamentally beyond conventional godhood that even the concept of omnipotence feels insufficient to describe him. I know what you are thinking. Wait, the most powerful god in all of anime comes from an isekai about a salary worker reborn as a slime. Yep. And if that surprises you, imagine how the power-scaling enthusiasts felt when they discovered the true nature of this universe's creator. To understand Veldanava is to contemplate the truly inconceivable. Let us start with the basics. In most cosmologies, there was first nothing and then creation happened. But before Veldanava, there was not even nothing. There was no concept of existence or non-existence, no framework for reality, no dimensions, no time, no space, not even void. The closest human language can come to describing this state is pre-everything. From this conceptual impossibility emerged Veldanava, not as a being within reality, but as the first boundary between being and non-being. His mere awareness created the possibility of creation. Before him, there was not even nothingness, because the concept of nothingness requires something to compare it to, and there was no basis for comparison. As the primordial god, Veldanava possessed what can only be described as true omnipotence, not merely the power to do anything within reality, but the power to define what reality is. He did not just create universes, he created the concept of universes. He did not just establish natural laws, he created the very idea that laws could exist. He formed all dimensions, all concepts of space and time, and all the multiverses within the slime cosmology. In the beginning, there was nothing, and I was lonely, Veldanava explains through his vessel in the series. It is such a simple statement that masks unfathomable implications. How can one be lonely when the concept of companionship does not yet exist? Such is the paradoxical nature of a being who predates the logical framework we use to understand existence. Here is where Veldanava's story takes its most fascinating turn. Despite possessing absolute knowledge and power over all that could ever be, he grew bored. Imagine knowing every possibility that could ever exist, every thought, every action, every outcome across infinite realities. Nothing could surprise you. Nothing could challenge you. Nothing would have meaning. So what does an omnipotent, omniscient being do when faced with the tedium of knowing everything? Veldanava did something revolutionary. He deliberately gave up his powers. He chose limitation. He took physical form as a dragon, the first true dragon, so he could experience his creation firsthand, with all the wonder and uncertainty that entails. Total power and knowledge leads to total stagnation, reads one of the ancient texts in the series. Only through limitation can meaning be found. In his diminished form, though still unfathomably powerful by any standard, Veldanava experienced something no omnipotent being could, genuine surprise. He fell in love with a human woman, an emotion impossible for a being who could predict all outcomes. They had a daughter, Milimnava, who would later become one of the most powerful demon lords. And then came the cosmic irony that defines Veldanava's legacy. When his human lover died giving birth to Milim, Veldanava's grief triggered a cosmic law he himself had created, that even gods cannot interfere with the natural cycle of life and death. This paradoxically led to his own demise, as he had violated the laws of his own creation through his attachment to a mortal. Yet even after his death, Veldanava's essence persists throughout the slime universe. Everything that exists contains a fragment of his original being. In a very real sense, he remains omnipresent, with parts of his consciousness and power manifesting in various beings and phenomena throughout creation. Veldanava stands alone at the top of our list for one simple reason. While other entities might control, embody, or transcend reality, Veldanava is the reason reality is possible at all. He does not just break the rules or transcend them, he wrote them in the first place. He is not just the most powerful being within the system, he is the system itself and the meta-system that allows systems to exist. As the ancient text Veldanava's contemplation states, "Before me there was not even void. After me, endless possibility. I am that boundary." Conclusion. As we look back at this cosmic journey through the most powerful gods in anime, a fascinating pattern emerges. Raw destructive power, the ability to destroy planets, stars, or even galaxies, ultimately means very little at the highest tiers of existence. Zeus' planet-shattering punches and Zeno's universe erasure seem almost quaint compared to the conceptual, multiversal, and pre-existential powers wielded by our top contenders. The truly divine entities in anime are not defined by how much they can destroy, but by how fundamentally they relate to existence itself. The most powerful gods are not just in the universe, they are the universe, or in Veldanava's case, the precedent for the universe itself. What is particularly interesting is how different anime and manga approach the concept of divinity. Record of Ragnarok gives us classical mythology with a battle-oriented twist. Bleach and Dragon Ball present gods as the highest tier in an escalating power hierarchy. Fullmetal Alchemist offers a philosophical take on divinity as the embodiment of natural law and cosmic truth. And Slime Isekai explores the paradox of omnipotence and the desire for limitation. These are not just power fantasies. They are explorations of what it means to be divine, to be all-powerful, and the inevitable limitations or paradoxes that come with such power. Even Veldanava, the strongest being on our list, ultimately chose to give up his omnipotence in exchange for genuine experience. Perhaps that is the most profound insight these cosmic beings offer us, that power itself, even at its most absolute, is not the ultimate goal. Understanding, experience, connection, and purpose ultimately matter more than the ability to create or destroy universes. Which of these divine beings resonates most with you? Is it the battle-ready Zeus, the abstract truth, or perhaps the creator who chose to limit himself? Whatever your preference, these characters remind us that anime at its most ambitious does not just stretch the imagination, it challenges our very conception of existence itself.